Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, classmates. Today, we're gonna talk all about the Japanese period between the year 1941 to 1945. Now, the Philippine literature faced a significant interruption as Japan once again conquered the Philippines. The development of Philippine literature in English came to a halt, with only a few exemptions such as the Tribune and the Philippine Review, as most English newspapers were silenced by the Japanese authorities. The weekly Liwayway was placed under strict surveillance until it was managed by Japanese named Ishiwara. Writers shifted their focus to writing in Filipino due to the strict prohibitions imposed by the Japanese. Juan C. Laya was one of those Filipino. He used to write in English and that turned into Filipino because of the strict prohibitions of the Japanese regarding any writing in English. Now let's tackle the Philippine poetry during the occupation. Here are the common themes of most poems. We have nationalism, country love, life in the barrios, faith, religion, and arts. Filipino literature was given a break during the period. Many wrote plays, poems, short stories, and etc. Topics and themes were often about life in the provinces.
Filipino literature during the Japanese occupation period. This era, spanning from 1941 to 1945, was marked by resilience and creativity in the face of adversity. Filipino poetry. Filipino poetry during this period reflected themes of nationalism, country, love and life in the valleys, faith, religion, and the arts. There are three types of poems emerge: haiku, tanaga, and karaniwang anyo. Haiku, a poem of free verse with 17 syllables divided into 3 lines, 5-7-5. Example, tears of freedom fall. On the earth, hope takes root. A new dawn will rise. Tanaga. Tanaga, short with measure and rhyme. Each line having 17 syllables. Example, my beloved land, torn by war's cruel hand. We will not yield, we stand with hearts that burn unyielding. Karaniwang anyo, traditional Filipino poetry forms representing cultural richness and diversity. Example, in the midst of chaos, hearts born with passion, love and hope ignite for the nation and the fight. The Filipino drama scene faced challenges, but playwrights adapted English plays into Tagalog, contributing to the establishment of dramatic Philippines. Notable playwrights include Jose Maria Hernandez, Panday Pera, Francisco Soc Rodrigo, Sa Pula Sa Puti, Clodoaldo Del Mondo, Bulaga, Julian Cruz Balmaceda, Sino Ba Kayo, Dahil Sa Anak, and Higanti ng Patay. The field of short story wide with many notable writers emerging. Some notable writers include Brigado Batumbakal, Macario Pineda, Serafin Genegendo, Liwayway Arsio, Narciso Ramos, NVM Gonzales, Alicia Lopez Lim, Ligaya Perez, Gloria Guzman. Top 3 prize winners in 1945 were Narciso Reyes, Lupang Tinubuan, Liwayway Arsio, Uhaw ang Tigang na Lupa, NVM Gonzales, Lungsod Nayon at Dagat-Dagatan. Filipino literature during the Japanese occupation period demonstrated resilience and creativity. Despite challenges, writers continued to produce remarkable works, shaping the country's literary heritage.
So now let's move to the Philippine literature in English and the literary awards. The Philippine literature in English in the year 1941 to 1945 experienced a challenging period when the Japanese strictly prohibited the writing and publishing of works in English. The reason why Japanese strictly prohibited the writing and publishing of works in English in order to control the dissemination of ideas that could potentially challenge or disrupt the Japanese ruling regime. But despite these restrictions, two writers bravely resisted or disobeyed the prohibitions to express their thoughts and resist the oppressive measures enforced during that period. These two writers named Carlos P. Romulo and Carlos Bulosan. Carlos Romulo was a Filipino diplomat, politician, soldier, journalist, and author. He was known for his works reflecting his experiences and perspectives on politics and diplomacy. Meanwhile, Carlos Bulosan was a Filipino-American author, poet, and activist known for his work reflecting the Filipino experience. Despite the restrictions, Romulo managed to avoid being captured by the Japanese during World War II, and he continued his diplomatic and advocacy from safe locations such as in the Australia and in the US. Meanwhile, Carlos Bulosan openly expressed his political views and participated in activities supporting the war effort. His renowned book called America in the Heart portrayed the sacrifices made during the war, emphasizing national redemption through these restrictions. So despite those challenges that the Filipino faced in the hands of the Japanese, literary recognition continues through Commonwealth Literary Awards. Few of these writers are Rafael de Costa Zulueta. Zulueta was a Filipino poet. He won the Commonwealth Literacy Awards through his poem entitled Like the Mulabi Three. Another one is Manuel E. Arguela. Arguela was an Ilocano writer and won the Commonwealth Literacy Award through his short story entitled How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife. And lastly, Juan Laya. Juan Laya was a notable figure in the Philippine literature and won the Commonwealth Literacy Awards through his novel entitled His Native Soil. So these are the writers who won the Commonwealth Literacy Awards during the year 1940. In conclusion, the Japanese occupation left a lasting impact on Philippine literature, reshaping its course and prompting a shift towards Filipino language and its themes.